gaming industry is a large and versatile business that influences millions around the globe. Many believe that the gaming industry doesn't affect our lives, but is that really true? Games are integrated into almost every aspect of our lives. Believe it or not, education, social sites, job training, and many other necessary components of our lives are associated with gaming. In most smartphones, iPods, and new electronic devices, games can be found installed at purchase. This software has spread around the world, and contact with this style of software became inevitable. It has been reported that more than 62% of the US population are active gamers in one form or the other. Whether you indulge yourself into a simple game such as Doodle Jump on your iPhone, or a more user-friendly game such as Farmville on Facebook, all games are undeniably time-consuming and requires effort, discipline, and dedication. Games have an increasingly significant impact on the economy, environment, social issues, and education. So how exactly has the gaming industry evolved into such an influential business?
Gaming over the last couple of years has evolved because the mass market has gotten involved in such a big way.
I would really, personally and professionally like to thank Nintendo for broadening the audience, for the fact that my mother for Christmas asked for a Wii and a Wii Fit and basically had never ever played a video game.
The good news is that kids today who are being born are growing up with games in their hands from age 2 on. And for us as game developers, that's fantastic because it's a part of their lives from the time they can walk, and we have an opportunity to tell our stories to them.
As the IGN developers just mentioned, the gaming industry has definitely evolved and is now playing a significant role in the global economy. But how exactly is it doing so? Well, the gaming industry is a strong, growing faction in the economy of today. It provides more than 120,000 jobs in the US. Jobs such as clerks, game developers, game coders, and graphic technicians are strongly linked to the gaming industry. Thus, it has added an ample amount of capital to the economy. It has added $5 billion to the US GDP in 2009. Furthermore, it stimulates technological advancements and finds new ways to harness our existing hardware. Many games also have their own economic system, which can really educate people about the economy.
Games like my favorite game when I was a child, RuneScape, gave me a lot of knowledge about the economy. Taught me how to negotiate, trade, the grand exchange market. So I know how to find lower prices, be patient. Of course, I learned how to scam people.
But just as there are always two sides of a coin, there are also some negative influences from the industry. There's a lot of anti-gamers out there that believe gaming is a waste of time. Why is gaming a waste of time?
Because you get really nothing out of it. Yeah, and you waste so much time on it. Honestly, if you waste disk space on your computer, and I don't know, you could be doing better things.
That might actually be true, because a survey found that 20% of men in their primes are unemployed compared to 5% in 1950. Lack of manpower in the workforce may just be related to the excess time spent on video games. People delaying their work and the lower quality of work is shown to be increasing as the chronic procrastination rate is increased from 5% in 1978 to 20% in 2010. So is gaming bad for the economy? Well, from the company's perspective, no, as it generates enormous amounts of profits each year. However, from a working individual's perspective, yes, because it hinders work and lowers the quality of work done. The economy is important, but there are definitely a few more aspects to consider. The environmental aspect. The gaming industry highly impacts the environment. This aspect isn't as obvious as the other ones, but if you notice, the internal environment in most games allows gamers to appreciate the beauty of nature. For example, the massive multiplayer online role-playing game, Lord of the Rings Online, has a beautiful environment and advocates respect and fair treatment of nature.
A lot of games have very nice natural backgrounds, and that makes me appreciate the nature more.
There has also been technological advances that benefit the environment due to the gaming industry's incentive to become more energy efficient. Longer lasting batteries have been created as a result of such a push. Also, there are games such as Flower that have been dedicated to educate the world about the environment. The gameplay shows the path of flower petals around the world, and enlightens its players on the environmental conditions in which the flower petals go through. However, despite all these positive things that the gaming industry is doing for the environment, there are also numerous negative impacts that the gaming industry poses on the environment. The gaming industry's production of gaming consoles creates a vast amount of carbon dioxide. The pollution is furthermore increased by the waste that is produced from the dumping of used electronics. Some of the materials that are inside, such as battery acid, is highly toxic and dangerous. These toxic electronic waste are dumped into developing countries such as Ghana.
The bulk of the computers that are shipped here, the old, obsolete, second-hand computers are broken. They just don't work. So why would anybody want to give us computers that don't work? It is dumping and nothing more. We don't need all these obsolete computers because of the health and environmental implications.
Another environmental issue that relates to gaming is the tremendous amount of energy required to power the consoles. In the US alone, more than 1.3 billion kilowatts are being used per hour just for gaming. That is a massive amount of energy used. Lastly, the gaming industry strongly impacts the social aspect of sustainable prosperity. Games are deeply integrated into many of today's social networks. Facebook, iPhones, Androids are filled with games. Can you imagine them without a single game? For me, that would make me feel that the system is missing a vital service. Games like Angry Birds and Temple Run are so popular today because they can be found right on your phone, which makes it extremely easy to access. Just like sports and working out, gaming has become an increasingly popular method for men to bond. Many co-op games build up friendships and strengthen bonds between people.
Oh yes! Oh, I got him! Oh, dude.
Oh, I killed him! Yes, I killed him!
Teamwork is a necessity in many games, and it increases our trust with each other and grants the experience to identify which traits make or break the team. Because of this, gaming in itself is becoming a social platform. Through gaming, people can meet and become friends with players from all over the world.
Multiplayer games is it teaches you how to work with people or cooperate with people. For example, you could do like a instance with someone. You never like you have no idea how he's gonna play or the kind of person he is, and then you got to work together anyway.
You can play with your friends and you have a good time. It's like socializing in your house. I met like new friends like from all around the world, like from Germany, from China.
In this day and time, the technological advancements of the world made it so much easier to contact the world within the comfort of our bedrooms. This has made it very convenient for many. However, this easy access to people leads to a greater amount of people staying in their rooms for prolonged periods of time. They become antisocial in the real world and ignore their health and personal goals. This boy here, his name is Bob, and I know you all must be wondering what in the world happened to him. Basically, all he did for the past 2 years was eat, sleep, and play video games. He has no friends or any form of social life whatsoever. His mother is very disappointed because he has dropped out of high school just for the sole purpose of gaming. Believe it or not, just like Bob, 47% of high school dropouts find that video games are more interesting than classes and drop out. It has also been reported that several hardcore gamers die each year due to severe and excessive gaming. There are other risks in gaming other than becoming antisocial and unhealthy. The graphics in a game might be filled with extreme gore or sexual content. This might affect an addictive gamer's psychological health. In recent news, there was a report on a man called Andrew Breivik in Norway that trained himself by playing the first-person shooter Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. He then went on a political youth camp and killed 69 people. This shows that some intense games have a serious impact on a man's psychological state. Now this is a man out of a million, or perhaps out of 10 million. However, we cannot ignore the fact that some games affect the minds of people. So what have we learned through this project? We learned that the gaming industry is impacting the world in many different ways. They have the money and the influence to change the views of many people very easily. From a gamer's perspective, gaming is just an enjoyable leisure activity and nothing more. And that was exactly what Malcolm and I thought at the beginning of this project. Even though both of us are excessive gamers, us gamers tend to neglect or ignore the many positive and negative impacts the gaming industry poses on the global society. Through the research and the study that we did on the topic, we realized how influential the gaming industry is, not only to our lives as gamers, but to every citizen in the world. It impacts kids, even in Ghana, that can't even game through all the electronic waste that is being dumped there. And it also impacts the US President Barack Obama because he actually bought advertisements in games such as Burnout for his presidential campaign. Gaming is all around us, whether we're a part of the industry or not. So I guess that leaves us to our real question: to game or not to game?